These are 47 amazing games that, in my opinion, deserve a rating of 10 out of 10. Write your own games that you love to play. Spec Ops: The Line. This game might look like a typical military shooter, but it's anything but. You play as Captain Martin Walker, leading a team into a sandstorm-ravaged Dubai to find a missing colonel. The story quickly takes a dark turn, exploring the horrors of war and moral ambiguity. It's one of the most thought-provoking stories in a shooter. Gameplay-wise, it's a third-person cover shooter with solid mechanics. The sand plays a big role. Using it to your advantage can turn the tide in battles. But the real star here is the narrative, which makes you question your actions and the nature of heroism. The game's atmosphere is intense and often unsettling, with some truly shocking moments that stick with you long after you've finished. If you're looking for a shooter with a deep, impactful story, Spec Ops: The Line is a must-play. It's a game that stays with you. RoboCop: Rogue City immerses you into the dystopian world of Detroit, echoing the classic 80s RoboCop movies. Playing as Alex Murphy, aka RoboCop, you patrol the city's crime-filled streets, dispensing justice with your signature precision and power. The game beautifully captures the gritty essence of the original films, with dark, atmospheric visuals and iconic sound design. The combat mechanics are robust and satisfying. RoboCop moves with a mechanical grace, delivering powerful blows with his signature Auto 9 gun. Each encounter feels impactful, making you feel like an unstoppable force of justice. The voice acting, particularly for RoboCop, adds another layer of immersion.
We are here to enforce the law, Lewis. Let us stay focused.
Right.
However, the game has its downsides. The missions can become repetitive, often revolving around similar tasks and enemies. The enemy AI isn't particularly challenging, and the game suffers from occasional bugs and glitches that can break immersion. Overall, RoboCop: Rogue City is a solid pick for fans of the franchise and action-packed shooters, providing a nostalgic yet thrilling experience. Chernobylite masterfully blends survival horror with an emotionally charged narrative set in the eerie Chernobyl exclusion zone. You step into the shoes of Igor, a physicist returning to Chernobyl to uncover the mystery behind his fiance's disappearance. The game's standout feature is its setting, a meticulously recreated, hauntingly beautiful rendition of Chernobyl infused with both realism and supernatural elements. The game excels in creating an immersive atmosphere. The detailed environments, combined with a haunting soundtrack, pull you into the world. The survival mechanics are deep and engaging, requiring you to gather resources, craft equipment, and manage your base, all while contending with both human and supernatural threats. The story is rich and filled with choices that significantly impact the outcome, adding replayability. However, the game's combat can feel clunky, with awkward shooting mechanics and less than ideal stealth gameplay. The pacing might feel slow to some, especially those looking for constant action. If atmospheric survival games with strong narratives are your thing, Chernobylite is a compelling experience that rewards patience and immersion.
How's that?
Like that! Fuck off, you all!
Dante's Inferno plunges you into a brutal hack-and-slash adventure inspired by Dante Alighieri's epic poem. You play as Dante, a crusader battling through the 9 circles of hell to rescue his beloved Beatrice. The game's depiction of hell is intense and unflinching, with grotesque and creative enemy designs that vividly bring the Inferno to life. Combat in Dante's Inferno is fast-paced and visceral. Dante wields a massive scythe and an array of holy powers, facing new challenges and enemies in each circle of hell. The story, drawn from the Divine Comedy, is dramatic and filled with memorable moments, making for a gripping narrative journey. Despite its strengths, the game can become repetitive, with linear level designs and frustrating platforming sections. The graphic content is also quite mature, which may not be suitable for all players. If you enjoy hack-and-slash games with dark, mature themes, Dante's Inferno is a must-play, offering both brutal combat and a gripping story.
I'm enabling the suit's assist mode to compensate for your inexperience.
Echo stands out in the sci-fi genre with its unique gameplay mechanic where the enemies adapt and learn from your actions. You play as N, exploring a mysterious palace filled with copies of yourself. This central mechanic creates a dynamic and evolving challenge, making each playthrough unique. The atmosphere in Echo is both eerie and immersive, with stunning, surreal visuals and a haunting soundtrack that enhances the sense of isolation and tension.
Something's not right. I'm picking up a whole load of anomalies.
The gameplay requires strategic thinking and adaptability, as your enemies mimic your behavior, forcing you to constantly change your tactics. However, the game's difficulty is high, especially as the enemies become more complex in their imitations. The narrative can be abstract and hard to follow, and the slow pacing might not appeal to everyone. If you're looking for a challenging and unique sci-fi experience, Echo is worth checking out. It's a game that demands thought and adaptability, offering a truly unique gameplay experience.
So do you think Cleo knows we're here, and she's sending these things to us on purpose? Or are these beacons just landing everywhere?
State of Decay thrusts you into a zombie apocalypse where you must build a community, scavenge for resources, and fend off the undead. The game excels at creating a tense, immersive atmosphere with a dynamic open world full of dangers and opportunities. Managing your community is a core aspect of the game. You'll make tough decisions about who to help and who to turn away, adding depth to the gameplay. Scavenging for resources is engaging and keeps you constantly on your toes, as you never know what you'll encounter next. However, State of Decay has its flaws. The game can be quite buggy, with occasional crashes and glitches that disrupt the experience. The combat and graphics feel dated compared to newer games, which might be a turn-off for some players. Despite its technical issues, State of Decay offers a gripping survival experience. If you enjoy managing resources and communities in a zombie apocalypse setting, it's a game worth playing. I recently played Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I have a lot to share. You play as Eivor, a Viking who is trying to conquer England. The game throws you into a world full of battles, raids, and exploration. The gameplay? It's ambiguous. Combat in the game is very dynamic. You can wield axes, hit enemies with shields, and use a raven for exploration. Stealth elements are present, but let's be honest, you're a Viking, so it's a pleasure to have a blast. Raids are an important part of the game. You gather a team, board your ship, and attack monasteries and villages. It's chaotic and fun, plus you get resources to build your settlement back home. Speaking of which, building your settlement is very satisfying. You improve buildings, unlock new abilities, and really feel like you're developing your own Viking community. The world is huge, and there's always something to do. Whether it's hunting legendary animals, solving ancient puzzles, or just exploring the beautiful landscapes of England. However, sometimes it feels like there's too much to do. You can easily get lost in side activities and forget about the main story. The story itself is fascinating, with Eivor making alliances and dealing with political intrigue. The characters you meet are memorable, and the dialogues are well written, but the pace of the game is sometimes off. In some parts it drags on. In others, it rushes. One of the downsides of the game are bugs and glitches. They can be quite annoying, such as getting stuck in an environment or encountering strange AI behavior. It doesn't hinder the game, but it can throw you off your game. Overall, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a huge, addictive game. You'll spend hours raiding, exploring, and building your Viking heritage. If you like open-world games with lots of content, you should definitely check it out. Just be prepared to encounter some bumps in the road. Valheim. This survival game throws you into a massive Viking world where you start as a fallen warrior trying to impress Odin. So, what's the gameplay like? You gather resources, wood, stone, food, to build everything from simple huts to massive fortresses. The crafting system is straightforward but deep, letting you make weapons, tools, and even longships. Combat is a big deal here. You'll fight everything from boars to trolls, each with their own attack styles. Boss fights are epic and require real strategy to take down. Building is super satisfying. You can construct anything you want, and the physics-based system means you have to think about stability and protection from the elements. Exploring the world is a huge part of the game. The map is huge and changes every time you play, with different biomes like forests, mountains, and swamps. Each area has unique resources and tougher enemies. Playing with friends makes everything better. You can team up to explore, fight bosses, and build together. Cooperation is key, especially when tackling the hardest challenges. Progression is addicting. You start with nothing and gradually become a Viking legend. Defeating bosses and building huge projects feels super rewarding. There are some bugs and performance issues, but the developers are constantly updating the game to fix them. Let's talk about The Elder Scrolls Online. This MMO drops you into the expansive world of Tamriel, where you can explore, fight, and quest like a true hero. You start by creating your character from one of the many Elder Scrolls races, each with unique abilities. The combat is active and engaging. You need to block, dodge, and aim your attacks, which keeps things exciting. Tamriel is massive and diverse. From Skyrim's snowy peaks to Hammerfell's deserts, every region is packed with quests, dungeons, and secrets. The quests are well written and go beyond simple fetch tasks, immersing you in the game's lore. Playing with friends or joining a guild makes the game even better. You can tackle dungeons, explore the world, or join huge PvP battles in Cyrodiil. The social aspects are strong and enhance the overall experience. The progression system is addicting. Leveling up, crafting gear, and learning new abilities keep you hooked. There's a lot of freedom in how you develop your character. Sure, the game can feel overwhelming with its vast content, and the grind can be real. But if you love deep, immersive worlds, ESO is for you. Warframe. This game throws you into a futuristic world as a space ninja called a Tenno, piloting powerful suits known as Warframes. It's fast-paced, action-packed, and incredibly addictive. So, what's the gameplay like? You start by choosing one of the many Warframes, each with unique abilities and playstyles. The combat is super fluid. You'll be slicing, dicing, and shooting your way through hordes of enemies. Movement is key here. You can sprint, slide, wall run, and even bullet jump across the map, which makes everything feel dynamic, and the missions are varied. You'll be doing everything from stealthy infiltrations to all-out assault missions. There's always something new to keep you engaged. Plus, the game constantly gets updated with new content, so it never feels stale. Customization is huge in Warframe. You can upgrade your Warframes and weapons with mods, which change how they perform. This means you can tailor your loadout to suit your playstyle perfectly. Plus, there's a ton of cosmetic options to make your Warframe look exactly how you want. The game has a bit of a learning curve, especially for new players. The sheer amount of content and systems can be overwhelming at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's incredibly rewarding. There are plenty of guides and a helpful community to get you up to speed. Co-op play is a blast. Teaming up with friends or other players makes missions more fun and often easier. The matchmaking system is smooth, so you can always find someone to play with. The grind is real in Warframe. You'll spend a lot of time farming for resources and crafting new gear, but the game's fast-paced action and constant updates make the grind enjoyable rather than tedious. Dying Light 2: Stay Human. This game had a rough development, but it's finally here, and there's a lot to talk about. So, you're Aidan Caldwell, a guy with a mysterious past, in a post-apocalyptic city overrun by zombies. The parkour system is a huge part of the game. You can run, jump, and climb over pretty much anything, which makes exploring the city a blast. The movement feels fluid and natural, especially when you're being chased by zombies. Combat is intense. You have a mix of melee and ranged weapons, but the melee combat is where the game shines. Hitting zombies and enemies with bats, pipes, and other improvised weapons feels really satisfying. Plus, you can craft and upgrade your gear to make it even more powerful. The city is split into different factions, and your choices matter. You can side with various groups, and your decisions impact the world around you. This gives the game a lot of replay value because you can see how different choices play out in future runs. The day-night cycle is crucial. During the day, zombies are slower and weaker, making it easier to explore and complete missions. But at night, they become much more dangerous, and powerful special infected come out to hunt you. Nighttime is both terrifying and thrilling, pushing you to plan your actions carefully. The story is decent, with some interesting characters and twists, but it can feel a bit cliché at times. However, the main draw of Dying Light 2 is the gameplay and the freedom to explore and make choices. Red Dead Redemption 2. Even though it's been out for a few years, this game is still a masterpiece worth discussing. First off, the world in RDR2 is insanely detailed. You play as Arthur Morgan, a member of the Van der Linde gang, roaming through a beautifully crafted version of the American frontier. Everything from the landscapes to the towns feels alive and immersive. You can easily lose hours just exploring and taking in the scenery. The story is top-notch. Arthur's journey is filled with complex characters, emotional moments, and tough choices. It's a slow burn, but it pulls you in and makes you care about the gang and their struggles. The voice acting and writing are some of the best in any game. Gameplay-wise, it's got everything. The shooting mechanics are solid, with a satisfying mix of action and strategy. You'll be involved in gunfights, heists, and all sorts of outlaw activities, but it's not all about violence. You can also go hunting, fishing, and even play poker. The game gives you so much freedom to do what you want. One of the standout features is the attention to detail. Your actions have consequences. If you commit crimes, bounty hunters will come after you. Your horse needs care and attention, and Arthur himself has to eat and sleep to stay healthy. These details make the world feel even more real. There are some slower moments, and the controls can feel a bit clunky, especially when trying to do precise movements. But these are minor issues compared to everything else the game offers. The online mode, Red Dead Online, adds even more content. You can team up with friends to complete missions, explore the world, and engage in PvP battles. It's a great addition if you're looking for more after finishing the main story. Let's talk about Fallout 4. Revisiting this game in 2024, it still holds up pretty well. You start off as a survivor from Vault 111 in a post-apocalyptic Boston. The open world is huge and filled with interesting places to explore, from dilapidated cities to creepy underground bunkers. The exploration is a big highlight. You never know what you'll find next. The story kicks off with you searching for your kidnapped son, but it branches out into various factions and side quests. You can align with groups like the Brotherhood of Steel or the Railroad, each with its own storyline and consequences. Combat is a mix of first-person shooting and RPG mechanics. VATS mode, where you can slow down time and target specific body parts, is super satisfying. Crafting and building are also major parts of the game. You can customize weapons, armor, and even build entire settlements. One downside is that the game can feel a bit buggy, and the graphics aren't the best by today's standards. But the modding community is huge and active, providing countless mods that can improve and expand the game. Overall, Fallout 4 is still a blast to play. If you love open-world RPGs with deep lore and endless exploration, it's worth diving back into. V-Rising. A year after its release, this vampire survival game has really found its footing. You play as a vampire awakening in a dark, gothic world. During the day, you need to hide from the deadly sunlight, and at night, you hunt for blood and resources. The day-night cycle adds a strategic layer to the game. Building your castle is one of the coolest features. You gather resources to construct and upgrade your lair, crafting everything from coffins to alchemical labs. It feels rewarding to see your castle grow and evolve. Combat is action-packed. You have various vampire abilities, like transforming into a wolf or summoning skeletons, which keeps things interesting. There's a mix of PvE and PvP elements, so you're always on your toes. Multiplayer is where the game shines. You can form clans with other players, raid rival castles, and defend your own. It's a lot of fun, especially when playing with friends. While the game still has some rough edges, the developers are actively improving it. If you're into survival games with a unique twist, V-Rising is definitely worth checking out.
Oh shit! Here they come!
Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. This game wraps up Nathan Drake's story in spectacular fashion. The game starts with Nathan being pulled out of retirement by his long-lost brother Sam. The story is gripping, filled with twists, emotional moments, and plenty of humor. The chemistry between characters is fantastic. Gameplay is a mix of climbing, puzzle solving, and intense gunfights. The environments are stunning. From lush jungles to ancient ruins, each level is beautifully detailed. The action sequences are cinematic and keep you on the edge of your seat. Stealth is a bigger focus in this game, allowing for different approaches to combat. The grappling hook adds a new dimension to traversal, making climbing and swinging around feel fluid and fun. Overall, Uncharted 4 is a must-play for any action-adventure fan. It's a perfect blend of storytelling and gameplay that delivers a memorable experience. Remember Me. This cyberpunk action-adventure game from 2013 has some really cool ideas. You play as Nealon, a memory hunter in a futuristic Paris where memories can be digitized and manipulated. The setting is stunning, with a rich, detailed world that feels alive. The combat system is unique. You create your own combos using the Combo Lab, which lets you customize your fighting style. It's a refreshing change from typical beat-em-up mechanics. Memory remixing is another standout feature. You can dive into people's memories and alter them, changing their perception of reality. These sections are like puzzles and are some of the most intriguing parts of the game. The story is engaging, touching on themes of identity and control. However, some parts of the gameplay can feel repetitive, and the platforming sections aren't as polished. Overall, Remember Me is a game worth checking out for its unique mechanics and captivating world. It's a hidden gem in the cyberpunk genre. Binary Domain. This game might be forgotten, but it's definitely worth revisiting. Set in a future where robots and humans coexist, you play as Dan Marshall, part of a squad tasked with taking down rogue robots in Tokyo. The story is surprisingly deep, exploring themes of AI and what it means to be human. The gameplay is solid third-person shooting with a twist. Your squad mates react to your commands and how you treat them, which affects their performance and the story. The voice command feature was pretty innovative for its time. Enemy robots are fun to fight. You can dismember them, which affects their behavior. It's satisfying to see them adapt to losing limbs and keep coming at you. The atmosphere and setting are well crafted, with a mix of action and quieter moments that build tension. While it didn't get the attention it deserved, Binary Domain is a hidden gem. If you enjoy shooters with a good story and unique mechanics, give it a shot.
Gotta move before he gets here.
Hey, need a hand?
Marvel's Spider-Man 2 brings back our favorite web-slinger in another action-packed adventure. Building on its predecessor's success, the game offers improved mechanics, a larger open world, and a more complex story. Swinging through New York City as Spider-Man remains one of the most exhilarating experiences in gaming. The combat is fluid and dynamic, with new abilities and gadgets that add depth and variety. The game introduces new villains and a darker, more intricate storyline that keeps you engaged from start to finish. However, the story can be hit or miss. Some parts feel rushed, and not all character arcs are satisfying. The game also suffers from occasional technical issues, such as frame rate drops and glitches, which can be distracting. Overall, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is a fantastic follow-up for fans of the first game. If you love superhero action and the thrill of swinging through a beautifully realized New York, you'll have a blast with this one. I Am Alive is a survival game set in a post-apocalyptic world where you navigate a ruined city searching for your family. The game excels in creating a bleak, tense atmosphere with scarce resources and constant threats. You'll need to make tough decisions about who to help and who to leave behind, adding moral complexity to the gameplay. The climbing and exploration mechanics are solid, making every journey through the city tense and precarious. The game's dark, gritty visuals enhance the sense of desperation and survival. On the downside, the combat feels clunky and the graphics are somewhat dated. The story, while intriguing, doesn't always hit the emotional highs it aims for, and some parts of the game feel underdeveloped. If you're into survival games with a strong focus on atmosphere and decision-making, I Am Alive is worth checking out. It offers a gritty and challenging experience that stands out in the genre, despite its rough edges. Bright Memory Infinite is an ambitious mix of first-person shooting and hack-and-slash gameplay set in a futuristic world. The game's combat is fast and fluid, combining shooting with melee attacks and special abilities in a seamless, thrilling way. Visually, the game is stunning, especially considering it was mostly developed by a single person. The action sequences are intense and keep you on your toes, making for an exhilarating experience. The game features impressive graphics and dynamic environments that enhance overall immersion. However, the game is quite short, and the story feels shallow and rushed. The pacing can be uneven, and some sections lack the polish found in other parts of the game. If you're looking for a visually impressive, action-packed game, Bright Memory Infinite is worth a try. Just be prepared for a brief experience that leaves you wanting more.
You there, pal?
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is a thrilling adventure that blends Uncharted action with Star Wars lore. You play as Cal Kestis, a young Jedi on the run from the Empire, exploring various planets and uncovering Force secrets. The game's exploration and platforming are top-notch, with beautifully designed levels that encourage you to look for hidden secrets. Combat is challenging and satisfying, requiring mastery of lightsaber techniques and Force powers. The story is engaging, with memorable characters and epic moments that make you feel like you're in a Star Wars movie. On the downside, the game has some technical issues, like bugs and frame rate drops. Combat can also feel repetitive, and some might find the difficulty spikes frustrating. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is a must-play for fans of the franchise. It's a well-crafted adventure that captures the essence of Star Wars while offering a fun and challenging gameplay experience. Stray is a unique adventure game where you play as a stray cat navigating a futuristic city populated by robots. The game's atmosphere is its strongest point, with beautifully crafted environments and a melancholic, immersive soundtrack. As a cat, you'll explore the city, solve puzzles, and interact with its robotic inhabitants. The gameplay is innovative and engaging, offering a fresh perspective on exploration and adventure. The story is touching, with emotional moments that resonate deeply. However, the game can be a bit short, and some might find the puzzles too easy. The controls can also be finicky at times, which can be frustrating during more precise platforming sections. If you're looking for a unique and emotional adventure, Stray is a game you shouldn't miss. It offers a beautiful and touching journey that's unlike anything else. Ori and the Blind Forest is a visually stunning and emotionally gripping platformer. You play as Ori, a small guardian spirit, on a quest to save the Forest of Nibel. The game's hand-drawn visuals and beautiful soundtrack create an enchanting atmosphere that draws you in from the start. The platforming mechanics are precise and challenging, requiring skill and timing to navigate through the forest's many hazards. The story is heartfelt and touching, with moments that will tug at your heartstrings. Exploration is rewarding, with hidden secrets and upgrades encouraging thorough exploration of every area. However, the game can be quite difficult, which might be a turn-off for some players. The save system can also be frustrating at times, as it relies on limited resources. If you love platformers with beautiful art and a touching story, Ori and the Blind Forest is a must-play. It's a challenging and rewarding experience that's sure to leave a lasting impression. Alan Wake 2 dives deeper into the psychological horror that made the first game a cult classic. You play as Alan Wake, navigating a dark and twisted world filled with new horrors. The game excels in atmosphere, with dark, creepy environments and tense storytelling. The combat is improved, with new mechanics and more variety. The story continues to be engaging and mysterious, with plenty of twists and turns. However, some might find the pacing slow, and the game can be quite challenging. There are also some technical issues, like occasional bugs and frame rate drops. If you're a fan of the original Alan Wake and enjoy psychological horror, Alan Wake 2 is definitely worth playing. It's a gripping and atmospheric experience. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora takes you to the lush, alien world of Pandora. You explore, fight, and survive in this beautifully crafted environment. The game's visuals are stunning, with detailed environments and vibrant colors. The open world is vast and full of things to do, from battling creatures to exploring hidden areas. The story ties in well with the Avatar universe, adding depth to the lore. However, some might find the gameplay repetitive, and the combat can feel a bit shallow. There are also some technical issues, like bugs and frame rate drops. If you're a fan of the Avatar movies and love open-world games, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora is worth checking out. Just be ready for some repetitive gameplay. A Plague Tale: Requiem is a gripping story-driven game set during the Black Plague. You follow Amisha and her brother Hugo as they try to survive in a world overrun by rats and the Inquisition. The game's atmosphere is incredibly immersive, with detailed environments and a haunting soundtrack. The story is emotional and well told, with strong character development. The gameplay combines stealth, puzzle solving, and action, keeping things varied and engaging. However, the game can be quite linear, and some might find the stealth sections repetitive. There are also occasional technical issues, like bugs and frame rate drops. If you love story-driven games with strong characters and atmospheric settings, A Plague Tale: Requiem is a must-play. It's a powerful and emotional journey. Journey is an extraordinary minimalist game that focuses on the emotional and visual experience rather than complex gameplay mechanics. You play as a robed figure traveling across a vast desert towards a distant mountain. The game's art style is breathtaking, with stunning visuals that create a serene yet awe-inspiring atmosphere. The gameplay is simple but deeply engaging, involving exploration, puzzle solving, and light platforming. One of the most unique aspects is the multiplayer feature, where you can encounter other players and travel together without any form of direct communication. This fosters a sense of connection and shared experience. However, Journey is quite short, and some players might find the lack of traditional gameplay elements limiting. The story is abstract and open to interpretation, which might not appeal to everyone. If you're looking for a unique, emotionally resonant experience, Journey is a must-play. It's a beautiful, meditative game that stays with you long after you finish it. The Vanishing of Ethan Carter is a first-person mystery game that places heavy emphasis on exploration and storytelling. You play as Paul Prospero, a detective with supernatural abilities, investigating the disappearance of a young boy named Ethan Carter. The game's setting, a beautiful but eerie rural area, is richly detailed and atmospheric. The story is intriguing, filled with twists and supernatural elements that keep you guessing. The game's puzzles are integrated into the environment, requiring observation and critical thinking. The narrative is compelling, with strong writing and voice acting that draw you into the mystery. The lack of hand-holding means you might sometimes feel lost, which can be frustrating. If you enjoy narrative-driven games with a focus on exploration and atmosphere, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter is an excellent choice. It's a haunting and memorable experience. Assassin's Creed Mirage is a return to the franchise's roots, focusing on stealth and parkour in a historical setting. Set in 9th century Baghdad, you play as Basim, a cunning assassin navigating the city's vibrant and dangerous streets. The game emphasizes the classic elements that made the series popular, like blending in with crowds and performing precise assassinations. The setting is meticulously crafted, with detailed architecture and bustling markets that bring the city to life. The parkour system is smooth, allowing for fluid movement across rooftops and through narrow alleys. The game's focus on stealth over open combat provides a refreshing change, requiring careful planning and execution of your missions. On the downside, some players might find the gameplay mechanics too similar to earlier entries, lacking the innovation seen in recent titles. The story, while engaging, can feel predictable at times, and the game suffers from occasional technical issues like bugs and frame rate drops. If you're a fan of the classic Assassin's Creed formula, Mirage offers a nostalgic yet fresh experience that emphasizes stealth, exploration, and historical immersion. Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League is a wild ride from Rocksteady Studios, known for their work on the Batman Arkham series. You control members of the Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Captain Boomerang, and King Shark, tasked with taking down brainwashed members of the Justice League in a chaotic open-world metropolis. The game excels in delivering high-octane action, with each character having unique abilities and combat styles, making gameplay varied and exciting. The writing is sharp, filled with dark humor and witty banter that captures the essence of the characters. The open world of Metropolis is vibrant and full of life, offering numerous side activities and missions. However, the game has its flaws. The narrative can be disjointed, with some story arcs feeling rushed or incomplete. The tone of the game sometimes clashes with the serious nature of the storyline, leading to moments of tonal inconsistency. Additionally, the reliance on cooperative multiplayer might not appeal to players who prefer solo experiences. Despite its shortcomings, Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League is a fun and chaotic adventure that fans of the DC Universe and action-packed games will enjoy. Skull and Bones is Ubisoft's long-anticipated pirate adventure, aiming to deliver an immersive naval combat experience. Set during the golden age of piracy, you command your ship, engage in naval battles, and explore a dynamic, open-world ocean. The game's standout feature is its naval combat system, which is deep and satisfying. You can customize your ship, manage your crew, and engage in intense sea battles. The visuals are impressive, with detailed ship models and stunning ocean effects that create an immersive pirate experience. However, Skull and Bones has faced mixed reviews. The game can feel repetitive, with many missions revolving around similar objectives. The single-player experience is somewhat lacking, as the game heavily emphasizes multiplayer interactions. Additionally, the development process has been turbulent, leading to concerns about the game's polish and overall quality. If you're a fan of naval combat and pirate adventures, Skull and Bones offers an exciting, if somewhat flawed, experience. It's a game that shines in its naval battles, but might leave you wanting more in terms of variety and single-player content. With Firewatch is a game puts you in the shoes of Henry, a man who takes a job as a firewatcher in the Wyoming wilderness in the late 1980s. But it's not just about watching the fires, it's about exploring the mysteries of the forest and solving personal problems. For one thing, every scene is like a painting come to life, from towering pines to serene lakes and breathtaking expanses. The plot is what drew me in from the beginning. You communicate with your boss, Delilah, via a portable walkie-talkie, and the relationship that develops between them is central to the game. The dialogues are witty and natural, making you feel like you really get to know these characters. Exploration is a big part of Firewatch. As you travel through the forest, you stumble upon all sorts of things, from abandoned campsites to hidden lookouts and even mysterious objects that hint at something more. It's a game that encourages you to take your time and immerse yourself in the atmosphere. The gameplay doesn't involve combat or action. It's more focused on wildlife, solving puzzles and making choices that affect the story. You will make decisions that can lead to different outcomes. One thing that struck me was the emotional depth of the narrative. Henry's personal issues and how they intertwine with the larger mystery kept me engaged until the very end. It's a story about isolation, guilt, and the search for meaning that resonated with me on a deep level. Dishonored II is a sequel to the action-adventure game Dishonored. Set 15 years after the original game, players travel to the city of Karnaca to uncover the conspiracy that has once again fallen on Daniel and Empress Emily Coldwin. In the process, players will meet both old familiar characters and brand new heroes. The main goal of the protagonists is to stop the imposter Delilah, who usurped the throne and is trying to destroy the main characters. The gameplay of the second part has changed insignificantly, but the variability of levels and replayability has increased. Players can still choose which way, brutal or not, to go through the missions, which in turn affects the ending of the game. In addition to Corvo Atano, Emily Coldwin has also become the main character of the sequel, and players can choose which of them they will take Dishonored 2 through. In addition, the developers added several new skills and new consumable items to the game. We are used to survival games, as a rule, taking place in the most uncomfortable conditions: darkness, impenetrable forest, zombies howling in your headphones, or some radioactive storm rumbling. You want to do everything necessary and never come back here again. But in Subnautica, on the contrary, you often want not to survive, but to live. Subnautica is an open-world survival game set in the depths of an alien ocean. After crash landing on an unknown planet, you must explore the underwater world, gather resources, and craft equipment to survive. The game offers a stunning underwater environment filled with diverse marine life and mysterious biomes. As you dive deeper, you'll uncover the secrets of the planet while managing your oxygen supply and avoiding dangerous creatures. When I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it quickly became clear why some consider it overrated. The game boasts an expansive open world set in ancient Greece during the Peloponnesian War, with stunning visuals and engaging combat mechanics. However, it feels more like a large expansion of Assassin's Creed Origins rather than a standalone game. The repetitive mission structure, lack of innovative mechanics, and superficial RPG elements were noticeable drawbacks. The narrative follows a mercenary, either Alexios or Cassandra, in a personal journey rather than focusing on historical events. The new dialogue system allows for choice-driven gameplay, impacting the story to some extent, but often these choices felt inconsequential. The exploration mode, intended to provide a more immersive experience by removing waypoint markers, was undermined by mandatory guidance prompts, detracting from the sense of discovery. Despite these issues, the main storyline and character interactions were well crafted, with memorable characters and a sense of adventure. The game also introduced large-scale battles and a mercenary system, adding layers of challenge and variety. However, the quality of side quests diminished as the game progressed, leading to repetitive and uninspired objectives. Overall, while Assassin's Creed Odyssey has its strengths in storytelling and world building, it suffers from a lack of depth and innovation in gameplay mechanics. It stands out more for its ambitious setting and narrative than for being a groundbreaking addition to the series. I recently got through Horizon Zero Dawn, and it blew my mind. The game is set in a post-apocalyptic world where robotic creatures roam the Earth and humanity has reverted to a tribal society. You play as Arla, a skilled hunter who embarks on a journey to uncover her past and the secrets of the ancient world. Every environment feels alive and detailed, from lush forests to snowy mountains. The robotic creatures you will encounter have their own behaviors and weaknesses that you must learn to survive. One of the coolest features is Aloy's ability to control these machines and turn them into allies. Imagine riding a mechanical beast into battle or using it to distract enemies while you sneak by. This adds a whole new level of strategy to the gameplay. The story has many twists and turns and surprises that kept me in suspense throughout the game. Learning about the old world through ancient ruins and holograms is like piecing together a puzzle of human history. The combat is where Horizon Zero Dawn really shines. Aloy is agile and resourceful, using a variety of weapons like bows, slingshots, and traps to take down enemies. Tactical depth allows you to approach each encounter differently, whether it's stealth or scorching guns. The game itself encourages you to explore every corner, offering unique challenges and rewards for your efforts. Green Hell. The game is set in the Amazon jungle, where everything around you wants to kill you. From spiders lurking in the foliage to bloodthirsty cannibals and alligators, dirty water, poisonous fungi and plants, parasites, exhaustion, dehydration, fatigue, and even a simple scratch that will turn into a festering wound if not treated and bandaged in time. You can die from hunger or dehydration in the jungle even faster than from the claws of predators or the arrows of aggressive natives. So if you are looking for a challenging game, which will be even interesting to play with friends in co-op, and you are not afraid of naturalistic details, Green Hell is the perfect game for you. Unlike AEA-class projects, it is inexpensive, and at a discount, you can get it even cheaper. Battlefield 1 is a multiplayer shooter dedicated to the events of the First World War. Players will battle up to 64 players in a variety of locations, including a captured French city, the Italian Alps, and the Arabian deserts. As usual in the series, players have access to a variety of vehicles: tanks, motorcycles, biplanes, battleships, and all of them are made in the spirit of the era. In addition to multiplayer modes, the game also offers a single-player campaign, the events of which unfold in different parts of the world and familiarize players with different stages of the First World War. There are many places to visit, from the desert to Central Europe, which is almost completely devastated by the war. GRIS is a beautifully crafted platformer in which you play as a girl named GRIS, who explores her emotions and copes with loss. The visuals of the game are stunning, as if every frame is a work of art. The game uses colors to represent different emotions and stages of the story, which is a very creative touch. The gameplay itself is pretty relaxed. You're not rushing around fighting enemies or anything like that. Instead, you're solving puzzles and moving through dreamlike environments. The music is another standout. It's so atmospheric and fits the mood of each scene perfectly. It really draws you into what's going on. Interestingly, the game unfolds without text or dialogue. It tells a story through visuals, animations, and music alone, which makes it feel like you're playing a painting or a poem. It's definitely more about the journey and emotional experience than the task at hand. The game may seem short, or not challenging enough if they are looking for intense gameplay. But if you like games that are all about artistry and emotional impact, GRIS will seem like a great choice. It also seems to be one of those games that stays with you even after you're done playing. Little Nightmares is a creepy, atmospheric game in which you play as a small character named Six, trying to escape from a mysterious ship called the Maw. The game's visuals are dark and haunting, and the detailed environments create a sense of terror and unease. The gameplay is a mixture of puzzle and stealth. You'll have to sneak past grotesque enemies and solve puzzles to advance. The atmosphere in the game is tense, and the creepy music and sound effects add to the tension. The game doesn't use dialogue, but tells a story through the environment and the characters' actions. It's about survival and uncovering the secrets of the Maw, which keeps you engaged and curious to see what happens next. Although the game is short, it has a good pace and keeps you in suspense the whole time. The puzzles are clever but not too stressful, and the design of the enemies and environments is really striking.
Sleep.
Resident Evil 2 Remake is a re-release of the famous horror game for modern systems. The game has completely redesigned graphics, support for high resolutions, as well as the ability to choose the camera position, as in RE2 or RE4. Players are waiting for a familiar story about the misadventures of several heroes, Leon Kennedy and Claire Redfield, who are trying to get out of the city of Raccoon City, covered by the epidemic of a monstrous virus that escaped from the laboratories of corporations Umbrella. Players will encounter zombified humans, unpredictable survivors, and other creatures that can no longer be categorized as human. The single-player first-person shooter Metro Exodus is the third in the Metro series and further developed the series' capabilities. RPG elements, advanced customization, and an exciting storyline have appeared, in which the hero of the previous games, Artem, leaves the Moscow metro and travels across post-apocalyptic Russia by train. You must scavenge for resources, manage your equipment, and make choices that affect your journey's outcome. The atmospheric environments and immersive storytelling make Metro Exodus a standout experience, and most importantly, not that expensive. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. It's a game that delves into the psychological journey of Senua, a Celtic warrior who embarks on a quest through the Viking underworld. The game's graphics are incredibly realistic and perfectly captures the eerie beauty of the dark fantasy world. Gameplay-wise, the game combines intense combat with puzzle solving and exploration. What's really cool is how the game depicts Senua's struggle with psychosis. It uses binaural sound to mimic the voices in her head, creating an immersive experience where you feel the full weight of her mental battles. The story touches on themes of loss, trauma, and resilience. As you progress through, you unravel Senua's past and the mysteries of Norse mythology intertwined with her journey. It's not just about fighting enemies, but understanding Senua's inner turmoil and what she is willing to do to confront her demons. A distinctive feature of the game is that neuroscientists and people suffering from psychosis were involved in its development. The game is not very long, but every moment feels thoughtful and meaningful. The puzzles are thoughtful, the combat is visceral, the narrative is engaging, and the price is low. What else do you need to be happy? The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, final part of the trilogy. Compared to the second part, the game has been transformed. The combat system has become a bit simpler and more elaborate. Signs have become more useful, and Geralt himself now appears to players as a real monster hunter, a man who fulfills contracts to destroy monsters. In addition to the main storyline, the events of which unfold on 3 huge locations, Geralt can also explore the Northern Kingdoms, helping people with their problems, or just traveling for fun. Geralt has a personal horse at his disposal, as well as the ability to move quickly between locations. In addition, The Witcher 3 includes several new mini-games, among which there is even a collectible card game. The Witcher 3's deep combat system, numerous side quests, and moral choices make it a standout in the genre. When I first played Assassin's Creed Unity, the technical issues were immediately noticeable. Released in 2014, the game was plagued by bugs and glitches, which overshadowed many of its positive aspects. However, Ubisoft's effort in recreating Paris during the French Revolution was truly impressive. The city's architecture and atmosphere were stunningly detailed, making exploration a visual treat. The storyline follows Arnaud Dorian, a young assassin seeking redemption and justice, set against the backdrop of revolutionary France. While the narrative had potential, it often felt somewhat superficial and predictable. Despite this, the historical context and the vibrant living city helped maintain my interest. Gameplay improvements were evident, especially in parkour and combat mechanics. The fluidity of movement across the rooftops of Paris was significantly enhanced compared to previous entries in the series. Combat was also more refined, with a focus on timing and precision. One of the standout features was the introduction of cooperative multiplayer missions, allowing players to team up and tackle objectives together. This added a fresh dynamic to the series, though it wasn't without its own set of bugs and connectivity issues. Despite its rocky launch, Unity had several strengths. The detailed and immersive recreation of Paris, improved gameplay mechanics, and the innovative co-op missions showed that Ubisoft had ambitious goals. Had the game been given more development time to iron out its numerous issues, it could have been one of the best entries in the series. Instead, it remains a mixed bag, remembered as much for its failures as for its accomplishments. Moving on, we have Cyberpunk 2077. Despite its rocky launch, this game has evolved into a visually stunning and deeply engaging experience. Set in the sprawling metropolis of Night City, the game offers an open world teeming with life and neon-lit beauty. The graphics are impressive, with a level of detail that brings the cyberpunk aesthetic to life. The narrative is equally compelling, following the story of V as they navigate the complex social and political landscape of the city. Customization options for both your character and gameplay are extensive, allowing for a truly personalized experience. The depth of the world, with its various districts and inhabitants, makes it a game that you can get lost in for hours. Notably, the game's use of ray tracing and global illumination adds depth and realism to the vibrant dystopian setting. Let's not forget Batman: Arkham Knight. This game is a visual and gameplay triumph, offering a detailed and immersive depiction of Gotham City. The game's graphics are stunning, with realistic character models, detailed environments, and dynamic weather effects. The game's story is equally compelling, following Batman as he faces off against some of his greatest foes. The combat system is fluid and satisfying, allowing for a variety of combat techniques and gadgets. The game's open world is filled with things to do, from solving riddles to battling criminals, making it a must-play for any Batman fan.